Ideas rarely, if ever, form in a vacuum. The way our culture engages with the Christian faith has been conditioned by centuries of ideas. Here's another way to put it. Fruit does not just appear in the grocery store. Apples come from apple trees come from apple orchards, and so on. As a Christian, I want to communicate the truth, the savoriness, and the fulfilling nature of Christianity. I want to communicate the deliciousness of the fruit of Christianity in a world whose fruit doesn't always taste so good. But here's the thing. I don't simply want to attack that fruit, that is, to respond to the behaviors of the world around me. I want to understand and respond to the whole tree, right? The root, the trunk, and the fruit. You see, at the root, the last 400 years of Enlightenment philosophy has created a rift between religious knowledge and scientific knowledge. Now, the Enlightenment accented individual autonomy and skepticism toward anything outside of the individual experience and reason. René Descartes' famous aphorism, "I think or doubt, therefore I am," became a rallying cry for a new way of thinking. Individual human reason was elevated to the highest possible status in determining what could be known about reality. So God's revelation might be a nice story for simple church-going folk, but truth comes from human reason. From here, Enlightenment rationalists and empiricists and positivists all had something to contribute. The result is the same either way: a gradual separation between religious knowledge and what has come to be known as scientific knowledge. So on one side, you have the church with its Bible and its pastors and its dogma, and on the other side, you have the enlightened individual with his reason, his scientific inquiry, and his autonomy. Here's the problem with the root of the Enlightenment tree. If you are Christian, you might feel forced to either follow the quest for absolute certainty of knowledge while attempting to investigate and analyze the Christian faith as a purely scientific exercise, or you might attempt to protect faith from reason by relegating faith to the untouchable realm of a blind leap into the darkness. After all, if faith doesn't play by the rules of reason, then reason can't hurt it. The problem is that the church will be ridiculed either way. Okay? If you play the Enlightenment game, you're ridiculed for being bad at it. If you don't play the game, you're suspected of being bad at it. Now, if that's your root, you can imagine the trunk isn't going to be very healthy. When God is unknowable and faith is irrational, we grow a trunk of disenchantment. In other words, our culture removes the supernatural from the world. God is relegated to the place of a personal hobby. Now, we can go to church on Sunday, but Monday through Saturday, we must be rational, secular-minded people. God is dead, as Friedrich Nietzsche quipped. And your new social imaginary becomes the God void, right? The air we breathe, the social and cultural water in which we swim. We may not even realize we're submerged in this scummy pond, but it's what we live in, and it impacts everything. God is nothing but the leftover icon of a bygone era. He's an interesting piece of memorabilia. He's last night's leftover meatloaf. So once we've separated religious knowledge from scientific knowledge and embedded ourselves in a new secular order, the fruit that emerges becomes clear. The rotten fruit of this whole man-made project is that self-chosen individual identity equals truth. Now, I don't mean that truth is subjective to my experience. I mean that my very identity becomes truth. Whatever I claim about myself must remain unquestioned. Reality is what I say it is. Knowledge is whatever I happen to believe today. Morality is you do you, I'll do me. This shouldn't surprise us. People have been told for centuries that they are gods. They're starting to believe it. But the tree needs some pruning. We need to pay attention to the root, the trunk, and the fruit. I would suggest that there's a better tree with a better metaphysic, a better epistemology, a better ethic. The tree I'm picturing has roots in the Creator God who makes himself known to his creation through Jesus Christ, God incarnate, and who has cultivated our salvation through the sacrifice of his Son on the cross on our behalf, that those who believe in Jesus will not rot on the vine, but will bear lasting fruit through the indwelling of the Holy Spirit. The tree of enlightenment and post-enlightenment philosophy gives us nothing but a vain, human-centered attempt at meaning. The tree of Calvary gives us hope.